Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. An excellent example of using your intelligence and training against someone else's belligerence and stupidity. Bravo, OP! But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Just analyze the bucket? No problem. Background. In August 2020, I successfully handed in the last piece of work, a CFD simulation study that cemented my master's degree in advanced mechanical engineering and aerospace with a first-class distinction. I'm very familiar with fracture mechanics. Important facts to draw from are this. There is a worldwide pandemic on, and being quarantined leads to no shortage of boredom. I've just proved my competence as an engineer with a focused specialization towards computer simulation models. Engineers, when bored, are dangerously sassy. The story. As a recent graduate, while the world is closed off, getting an entry-level position is somewhat of a challenge, with companies struggling to stay afloat in these troublesome times, and the landlord still comes chomping at the bit for his rent money. I now currently work for a company run by a colorful megalomaniac which has a jungly name specialized in warehouse-based online commerce. No names will be mentioned. I'm vastly overqualified for my position, but needs must. I'm currently in the department that deals with quality. One of my main responsibilities now is going around the warehouse inspecting items for defects, issues with returns, repeated problems, and frequently damaged items, and passing judgment before auditing them, fixing problems as I go, and raising tickets as necessary. It's not a bad job to be doing. One of the things I raise tickets for is preparation of items, which happens if an item is fragile or regularly broken and needs additional protection. It's up to me whether it's worthwhile sending things for prep. When I was given my training for this role, my mentor warned me about someone whose login literally appears as a synonym of battleground, and to expect their messages on the in-house messaging system to be equally as dramatic sounding. They're one of the individuals who reads my tickets and audits and sets the follow-ups in motion, but don't necessarily see all the info I see. They also work the opposite shift to me, so there's no overlap, and the only time communication gets through is at the start and end of each shift as we see messages left. A few nights ago, my computer on wheels told me to check a bucket of detergent for damages. I was sent to a few locations and judged the product to be unpreppable, i.e., it's a container made of brittle plastic that has a hazmat item inside and has 5 kilograms of product inside. The reason it was deemed so is our standard test to see if an item will need prep is to drop it from 3 feet high. If you damage that unit, all others should get prepped. This item will definitely break on impact, and even with bubble wrap, it'll need many layers to stop that happening. As a result, the cost/benefit of wrapping up the 1,500 of these items in inventory doesn't add up, especially as it would take multiple back-to-back shifts to fix this in-house for just this one item. Battleground left me a message stating that if I believe the item will break, it must be analyzed, and they believe the items must be prepped, although they aren't aware of how many there are in stock. They actually are the same level as me in the hierarchy and have no actual power to direct me as they wish, and I protest that there's no way I'm going to start dropping 5-kilogram buckets of hazmat on the floor. Then the message is waiting for me at the start of my next shift to do your job and just analyze the bucket, which was actually in all caps. Okie dokie. I got home the morning after having not been sent to look at any of those items that night, and in an effort to satisfy the request, began designing the bucket in CAD. I knew the dimensions, I knew the material, and I had the software licenses to create a detailed impact simulation. I discovered that in order to absorb enough impact to not break the bucket, I would need 6 layers of cushioning at least for 3-foot drops. The highest this item is stored is 24 feet up in the air on pallets. Naturally, I proceeded to continue my investigation, and by the time my next shift rolled around 3 nights later, I had an 8-page technical report on my structural analysis of the bucket with a rough cost-benefit analysis included and a feasibility assessment. I raised a ticket for a damage issue ceasing Battleground, and for all updates, attached my report, and listed it publicly in the building. The next shift, I was simply met with a ticket resolved notification. And our second story. Surveying gone wrong, then right. This was a year or two ago, so my memory of the exact wording is going to be a little hazy, but I hope you enjoy. I work as a crew chief for a survey company in South Florida. On this particular occasion, I was doing a boundary and topographical survey for a home in an upper-class downtown area that was in the process of being renovated. Our company had previously surveyed on this road, so we had existing control points for our equipment to occupy, look for property corners, establish elevations, all the good technical stuff. One of these points, unfortunately, was not on the road. If you're walking on a street or a sidewalk and you notice the head of some weird nail and a metal disc with writing on it, you're seeing a control point of a survey company. The control point I was looking for is known as a 60D, a nail that's a good deal longer than the ones we put in the road because we use them when we have to set a control point in dirt, sand, grass, or otherwise unpaved terrain. The 60D was in the right-of-way of a home at the end of the street. I knew it was there because I'd set it with my previous crew chief. My crew was just one other guy, let's call him Ike, and as we searched for the 60D using a magnetic pen finder to locate it and my pocket knife to dig for it, the homeowner, a middle-aged dude, came barreling out of his house. Dude, what the F do you think you're doing? First of all, I hate confrontation. I'm an incurable people pleaser. Second, I hate explaining surveying to anyone not in the know because no matter how I try to describe what I'm doing, it always comes off as indecipherable gibberish. So I'm still trying to figure out how to answer as he continues ranting. Dude, what are you doing? What the F are you doing in my yard? I couldn't help myself. My brain clicked onto something and I calmly answered, technically, I'm not on your property, sir. I'm in the right-of-way. Fun fact, in Florida, surveyors are allowed to go anywhere so long as it directly affects our survey. I've had to explain that so many times, we actually have a printout of the law to present to people when necessary, though I didn't have it on me at the time of this incident, so it didn't really matter whether I was in the right-of-way or on his property. I needed that 60D to do my work, and I was legally allowed to do it. Dude, don't give me that crap. What company do you work for? Ike and I point to our t-shirts and tell him. Dude, well, what the F are you doing on my land? Me, we're looking for a control point to occupy for a survey. I know there's one in here. Dude, how? How do you know that? Me, because I was here when this company completed the final survey for your home after it was fully renovated. Dude, wheels starting to turn. Why? What are you surveying? Me, the house down the street that's also under renovation. Dude, wait, you're not surveying the road for the city? Me, no sir, we're a private company doing a job for a house builder. Dude's entire demeanor immediately changes. He becomes apologetic and ashamed of his behavior. He explained that the city was trying to put in sidewalks on several streets. The neighborhood, not wishing to undergo such a drastic change, had come together and hired lawyers to fight the possible sidewalk construction. Those lawyers had advised the homeowners not to allow city or county employees, including surveyors, to do any work towards the planning of the sidewalk. He told us, by all means, do whatever we needed to do because he didn't care so long as it wasn't for the sidewalk. It was also very sudden, but he was so nice afterward. He even brought us out a couple of water bottles. I feel that not pushing back and getting angry back at him was the right path, and Ike agreed since he stated that I was way more patient than he, and that he would have likely knocked the guy out if the dude had continued. And our last story. Crazy Karen keeps trying to build on my property. I'll call this neighbor Karen. A few years back, I bought a parcel of land. Recently, my stepfather was cursed out and yelled at by one of our neighbors after he told her not to build on our side of the property line. We saw that a group of men were trying to build on our side of the land on her orders. Her father, an elderly man, apologized as he didn't realize he was trespassing on our land. My father was chill, if a bit miffed, that clearly we're working on our land. My dad told him that he shouldn't be building on our side of our property. We thought that was the end of it, but later this Karen lady who's the owner of the land and our neighbor yelled at my stepfather, saying she would call the police on him and that she was in her right. She also threatened to call the police on him for animal cruelty in regards to our horse, saying that it was underfed or not taken care of. He didn't cower under her threats and told them, okay, go ahead. and she continued to call him a lot of names and swear words. It's pretty clear where the property line ends and meets, and any buyer who had bought the land would receive a map to indicate the measurements of each parcel. We also put up no trespassing signs along the trees, but there's no fence between us. This is also not the first incident like this. There's another neighbor, we'll call her Darcy. Darcy, also a neighbor of ours and a neighbor of Karen, realized that Karen had indicated to the electricians to dig on Darcy's side of the land to lay down utilities. Darcy had told my mother about the situation, and my mother basically blew her off, saying it probably wasn't a huge deal. My mother wrongly assumed that it was a foot off her land, when in reality she literally got into trespassing and ordered these electricians to dig on someone else's property. I used to work as a customer service rep for utility companies, so I know when any type of digging or construction is done on a property, they usually go by whatever they're told by the city and the owner, meaning so long as the former is giving the okay, they'll dig wherever the latter points to. I told Darcy to put up signs for no trespassing because she was clearly in her right to put a stop to construction on her land. This resulted in Karen getting angry and cursing out Darcy for preventing further construction on Darcy's own property. Just a minor detail, but Karen's father apologized to Darcy and offered to trim her grass, and Darcy obliged, but then Karen proceeded to verbally abuse her father for offering the apology and cursed out, insulted Darcy at the same time. Fast forward to today, and Karen's now trying to build on my land, cursing out my family, threatening my family with police, accusing us of animal cruelty, all the while laughing her butt off, insulting us, telling us that we have no right to tell her not to build on our property because she says it's her side of the land. The land's in my name, and I used a bank loan with a title company. If I remember correctly, they put in a detail in the contract that states they would get involved if anyone tried to build on our property. I don't know what's her problem. Her plot's probably the smallest one, but she has plenty of room to do whatever she wants to build or install. Update. We contacted a lawyer, and he sent a cease and desist letter. Karen continued, and I called the police every time she trespassed on our property. Then we filed for harassment and got a restraining order. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.